world is evolving, and I must admit, it is beyond amazing to be a part of it. It's amazing that I am an influence on how our processes, architecture, technology, indeed how the world will look the many tomorrows that follow today. What I once thought was fictional is now reality. So I can confidently say I am Theodore Henry and I have a superpower. We have superpowers. I am a shaper. We are shapers. The generations before us were shapers. Their struggles, needs, and vision artistically created all we are able to use and experience today. This is Jamaica Magazine, and this is how others like you and I are using our abilities to shape our piece of the world.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
A holy way of celebrating it. They say the people them, them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal, panta,
medal.
Amount of tongue we give them,
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre. Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
I forgot to download the app to get the updates then.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 28, 2022. Government is urging Jamaicans to report incidents of illegal connection to the National Water Commission NWC's pipelines. In making the call, Minister with responsibility for water, Matthew Samuda, says that while government will finance the upgrade of water supply systems, citizens must hold themselves and their neighbors accountable for theft.
We literally cannot continue to supply those who steal the commodity. It is unfair to those who pay their water bills every month, and I encourage residents to quietly and discreetly be informers and inform the police, and they will pass it on to us.
Minister Samuda was speaking recently as he commissioned into service Phase 1 of the Barron Hill to Samuel Prospect pipeline replacement project in Trelawney. The 8.1-kilometer project was done by NWC at a cost of $275 million. Approximately 11,500 residents from communities such as Brampton, Rio Bueno, Jacksontown, Braco, Calabar, Samuel Prospect, Hatfield, Red Valley, and Betheltown will benefit. It's part of a $2.1 billion investment in Trelawney's water systems. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson is urging Jamaicans to involve the police early in domestic disputes to quell conflict before any lives are lost.
If you start to see the conflict within the community, even within the household, let the police know. They may be able to do an intervention. We can also do referrals. We have our own chaplaincy. We have our own counselors. We can get into these conflicts and see if we can resolve them.
Major General Anderson is also calling on citizens to utilize the services available at the 10 domestic violence centers that have been established at police stations across the island. He was addressing the recent groundbreaking for the new state-of-the-art Lacovia Police Station in St. Elizabeth. The over 5,000 square foot complex is being built at a cost of $175 million by the National Housing Trust. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says it has made significant strides towards meeting the targets for cervical cancer prevention and control. These are targets set out by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Plan of Action for 2018 to 2030. Among the ministry's achievements are the development of a national plan for cervical cancer elimination with support from PAHO and establishing screening guidelines for the disease. The National Screening Guidelines for Priority Non-Communicable Diseases include standards for cervical cancer screening in the 21 to 64 years target group. It also provides recommendations for screening via pap smears or human papillomavirus HPV testing for women 30 to 64 years of age. Implementation of the guidelines has started through the Health System Strengthening Project for the Prevention and Control of Non-Communicable Diseases, NCDs. Further to that, increased awareness and screening will be promoted as part of the life stage and integrated approach in primary care centers. The Ministry of Health and Wellness provided the update at the 170th session of the PAHO Executive Committee meeting recently. The Bodles Research Station in Old Harbour St. Catherine will be able to increase the number of seed plots following the donation of 2 farm-oil tractors by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says donation of the equipment, valued at $15.6 million, is part of a drive to improve the output of the research station. It's also intended to assist the team in meeting the 150-pound seed target for hot peppers that will result in 970 hectares of the crop.
These tractors will be used to pull farm implements and to establish seed production plots for hot peppers, pumpkins, sorrel, and other crops. The addition of these new tractors is really a welcomed asset.
Deputy Research Director at Bodles, Michelle Sherwood, says the vehicles will also allow the facility to boost the production of haylage and silage.
We take very seriously the charge that you have given us in terms of being able to lead the research and being able to provide new technologies that will be needed to further the growth of the agricultural sector.
The Agriculture Minister says another $15 million was approved to assist with the clearing of spaces for pasture development at Bodles. Students in 32 secondary schools are being targeted to receive coping skills for stress and valuable psychosocial and wellness resources. Between June 27 and 30, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is moving a team of mental health professionals into the schools to bring wellness resources to the young people. Other schools will also benefit by virtually joining in the sessions, which are aimed at enhancing the mental wellness of the children as part of the recovery efforts from the COVID-19 pandemic. The initiative is part of an ongoing effort by the ministry, working with its education counterpart, as well as Senator Dr. Sophia Longmore and the Jamaica Psychiatric and Psychological Associations. And finally, 14 ambassadors from 8 churches in Kingston have received certification for handling conflict after completing a values and attitudes training course organized by the government. The 10-week training course under the Hope Area Churches Organization, HACO, is part of government's efforts to reduce crime and violence within communities while instilling moral values. Minister of Education and Youth Fable Williams welcomed the support and partnership of the churches during an award ceremony held at St. Peter and Paul Church in Kingston over the weekend.
We must all act urgently to save a generation. It's about the hearts and minds of all of us.
The training course was done under the Ministry of Education and Youth's Respect Agenda campaign and aims to empower the ambassadors to organize similar training courses for members of their communities. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Lowering the sodium content in children's diets today can help prevent heart disease later in their life, especially for those who are overweight. Shake the salt habit, shop smart and cook smart. Use less or no salt when cooking. Try using fresh herbs and seasonings to add more flavor. Limit the consumption of salty snacks. Take the time to carefully read the nutrition labels on food products to identify those high in salt and choose the healthier options. Remember, no more than 2 grams of salt per day from all food sources for children under 11 years of age.
At the helm of the vision to have Jamaica on beat with the modernized world is Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Here's how he forwarded that vision this past week.
Prime Minister represents Jamaica at Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda, holds bilateral talks and engages with diaspora, and condemns killing of mother and 4 children. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. This past week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness was on the African continent to participate in the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The June 20 to 25 event was held in Kigali, Rwanda under the theme, Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. The newly expanded 56-member grouping discussed a range of topics including digital transformation, climate change, food security, sustainable energy, and the blue economy. While addressing the Commonwealth Business Forum's Heads of Government and Business Leaders Roundtable, Mr. Holness called on developing countries to start using technology as a tool to create economic value. The Prime Minister urged countries to move away from being merely consumers of technology and instead be originators, creators, and innovators. At the same time, Mr. Holness said leaders must ensure there is equal access for all citizens.
The internet and digital technologies are critical drivers of wealth creation and prosperity in our society. Governments must be deliberate in ensuring that this public good is equitably accessible to all citizens. Otherwise, it could come to define a new dimension of poverty.
Wednesday's meeting was held under the theme Bridging the Digital Divide. By Thursday, the Prime Minister was sharing his thoughts on the Glasgow Climate Change Pact goal of redoubling adaptation financing by 2025. He also spoke on the opportunities and challenges in developing quality adaptation proposals and scaling up projects by COP27, slated for Egypt later this year. Prime Minister Holness made those statements at a panel discussion on innovation access to climate financing. Also Thursday, the Prime Minister attended the high-level Kigali Summit on malaria and neglected tropical diseases, which continue to have a devastating effect on world populations. On Saturday, the Prime Minister visited the Kigali Genocide Museum to pay his respects to those who lost their lives in 1994's Rwandan genocide. Earlier in the day, Mr. Holness attended the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting retreat. The body discussed matters of global importance, including the effect of the Russia-Ukraine conflict on food and oil prices, the impact of climate change on the planet and the world economy, as well as the pandemic's burden on health and well-being. The Prime Minister closed out his visit to Rwanda at a reception hosted by the Jamaican diaspora in Kigali. And following elections to select the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Friday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness congratulated Baroness Patricia Scotland on her re-election to the post. Baroness Scotland will serve until 2024 after a 27-24 vote to secure the top job. While he congratulated Baroness Scotland for a good contest, Mr. Holness also extended commendations to Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, who he said ran a distinguished and exemplary campaign. The Prime Minister says Jamaica remains deeply proud of Minister Johnson-Smith, who won the respect and admiration of many countries within the Commonwealth. Mr. Holness has also reiterated Jamaica's commitment to the Commonwealth, its diversity, and its potential to deliver for its people. Prime Minister Holness capitalized on his visit to Rwanda by meeting with several heads of government on the margins of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. He held talks with Rwandan President Paul Kagame aimed at deepening cooperation between the countries, discussed ways in which the Commonwealth as an institution can better serve its members with the President of Nigeria, and shared an intent to deepen Jamaica's cooperation with Samoa when he met that island's Prime Minister. While en route to Rwanda, Prime Minister Andrew Holness condemned Tuesday's gruesome killing of 31-year-old mother Kimisha Wright and her 4 children, who ranged in age from 23 months to 15 years at Cocoa Peace in Clarendon. While expressing heartbreak at the horrific incident, Mr. Holness called on Jamaicans to take an all-of-society approach to eradicating violence at its root. He also promised to expend the full resources of the police to catch and prosecute those responsible.
It is heartbreaking, heartrending. This kind of violence cannot be allowed to continue without a response, without action on the part of the government. The Police Commissioner and the Minister of National Security have both assured me that they have put all the resources in place to ensure that the perpetrator is caught. Already they have a suspect, a person of interest, and they have already good leads in capturing that person.
23-year-old Roshane Barnett has since been charged with 5 counts of murder in relation to the incident. Meanwhile, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and other state agencies have been deployed to provide support. The Member of Parliament, Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, has also activated his internal support mechanisms to assist the family and community at this time. Before his departure to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, Mr. Holness met with the heads of the Jamaica Constabulary and Defence Forces to discuss security matters. He was joined by wife Juliet Holness and Minister without Portfolio Robert Morgan. And on Monday, the Prime Minister informed the nation that a donation by opposition leader Mark Golding towards the repatriation of students who were stranded in the Ukraine is to be returned. In a release, the Office of the Prime Minister said steps have been taken to return the $10,000 donated, as Mr. Golding had indicated his desire to put the funds towards each student's education costs. The funds were initially earmarked for transportation, food and other necessities related to the repatriation of the students. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
I must urge all users of cyberspace, do not, for fear of being labeled a victim, refuse to report or follow through the process. Once you think that there is something wrong, seek advice, and the easiest way to get that advice is to come to Jamaica CERT or to go to the nearest police station. You will not be looked down upon for being a victim of cybercrime, because it is a matter of when for us all, not if.
To report a cybercrime, call or visit the website of the Jamaica Cyber Incident Response Team or make a report to your nearest police station.
For the past 2+ years, all across the world, our health and wellness are the most talked about issues. Understandably so, because if we are strained by ailments of any kind, it makes it harder to live and experience life. And because we want to ensure that you do, here's something that will help.
The Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division is mandated to ensure the wholesomeness of food entering commerce. So it's a division that is geared towards food safety. And to do that, we have an inspectorate unit, that is our frontline unit, that would go to the various points of entry, to anywhere that stores food. So we have inspectors stationed at the ports of entry, at supermarkets, warehouses, we check containers. Inspectors are almost anywhere where food is stored.
The Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division has been accredited to the ISO 17020 standard, which certifies their competence in doing food and field inspection in premises, containers, and on ships.
We also do breeding for schools and universities. So yes, we do that with the rats. We actually do trapping as well. We go out into the field and we do trapping. So at various locations, we'll take some designated rat traps and we go out and we would trap rats and we breed them in-house.
The division also comprises of a rodent biology and control unit where they conduct efficacy testing to see how effective rodenticides are on the rats.
There are some myths floating around with rats and how to keep rats away. And one of the myths is that you have to spice up the poison for them to eat it and to die, which isn't really so. It's best not to add things like gravy or other foodstuff to the poison. What you want the rat to do is to eat as much of the poison as possible.
Another myth is that by using select rodenticides, you will not be able to smell the rat once it dies.
The smell of the rat has to do with really how the time at which it dies and how far it is from where you thought it died. Another myth is that the rats can't climb on wires. Some of us would really see that, you know, they can climb on wires. You can see them on utility wires. Another myth is that if a rat bites your fruit, for example a mango, you can cut off that bitten portion and eat the rest. No, it's best to discard it and best not to eat it, because if the rat has eaten part of it, they could mess on the rest of the fruit, so you wouldn't want that. So if you have a fruit that is bitten by rats, best to discard it.
In addition to the Rodent Biology and Control Unit, the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division also has other testing laboratories such as the Pesticide, Residue and Microtoxin Unit, a Microbiology Unit, and an Entomology Unit. For more information on the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Division, an entity under the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, visit or call them at their offices at 15 Gordon Road in Kingston or 30 to 34 Market Street, Montego Bay, St. James.
The tinting of your windscreen, cut it out. Public passenger vehicles, according to the Transport Authority Act, not supposed to have tints. I'm appealing to motorists out there. We have removed many plates because of fandangles that are on the motor vehicle. Colorful lights, red light, purple light, blue light, and these multicolored lights. Get them off. I've noticed some trends out there where there is different type of license plates on motor vehicles. Only the Jamaican issued driver's license plates are to be on the motor vehicles. Once you transport any passenger in a motor vehicle, ensure that they are buckled, whether they are on the front or they are on the back. The seatbelt gives people a fighting chance to survive the crash. Many people have died who never give themselves a fighting chance.
The first industrial revolution gifted us mechanized production through water and steam power. Since then, we have completed a second, third, and are currently in a fourth. This rotation is characterized by a fusion of technologies that are connecting the physical, digital, and biological spheres. And if you've had to conduct business in one of several public sector entities, you for sure would have experienced this connectivity.
Innovation steers our economic well-being, and at the cusp of our economy are our public entities. The thirst for improvement in areas such as ICT technology, human resource management, trade and investment, and management of public sector costs are being watered through the Public Sector Transformation Program. The Public Sector Transformation Program, PStmp, has been reshaping the face of how we conduct business in our public offices across Jamaica by designing new processes and procedures purposed at creating an effective, efficient, and functioning environment for businesses. At some point, you may have been part of this experience. Excessive bureaucratic processes, high transaction costs and time, inadequate human resource management are some issues penned in the salutation that read, "Respectfully, we cannot continue as we are, as the people of Jamaica, our partners and colleagues, are adversely affected by inefficient service delivery, which, by extension, pulls on our economic strides." It was then enveloped and addressed over 4 years. A trained workforce equipped with the knowledge and tools to execute internal as well as external relations is critical to the success of this program. With this, the PStmp has forged a design that will see the reform and modernization in the areas of efficiency and IT, shared corporate services, rationalization of public bodies, human resource management transformation, and compensation management. These projects are at varying stages of planning, design, and execution, but importantly, the vision is charted in action, and in some instances, the success is evident. Human resource departments across ministries, departments, and agencies and government-led organizations are now privy to a digital rewrite with the new MyHR Plus online platform with over 16,000 public sector workers using the system. These projects aim to create a public sector environment fit for purpose, providing dependable services to civil servants, clients, and external partners. Standing at the center of the economy, it's pivotal that we build a structure that is strapping and robust, one that makes Jamaica the place of choice.
The Travelpad application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the Travelpad application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you then will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
This is where we close, but you can watch even more on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, connect with us on our social media pages. It was a pleasure sharing with you today. The hardworking team here at the JIS thanks you for your continued viewership. But before we go, a question from Aldis Hodge. What is a superhero? They're supposed to represent hope, opportunity, and strength for everybody. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.